Dork in Disguise, Chapter 11. Jerry tried all afternoon to get Brenda's attention so he could talk to her, but she walked out of every class with Kim and Kat Henley and Aubrey Lane. He watched her, and hour by hour, the loneliness grew inside him. After school, he went to Brenda's locker and waited for 15 minutes. She didn't arrive. Maybe, he thought, she had already stopped at her locker and was on the way home. He remembered she said she lived on Robin Hood Road. He went to the office, asked for a telephone book, and looked up her house number. He trudged there all the way, forgetting about the cool swagger he'd perfected. He was going to say he'd come to play alien abductors. After all, she had invited him to come home after school and play it with her. Maybe they'd have lots of fun, and they'd be good friends again by the end of the afternoon. Brenda's house was large and white with black shutters and a big front porch that wrapped around the front. A swing hung from the porch ceiling. He climbed the steps and knocked. A few moments later, the door opened. Brenda smiled when she saw him. Hey, Flack. Hi, I just thought I'd come over and play alien abductors and say happy birthday again. Oh, thanks. Jerry glanced at the swing. Want to sit for a minute? I like these old porch swings. Okay. Brenda sat in the swing on one end. Jerry planted himself in the swing next to her, pushed it back with his feet, and let go and swung forward. We have our first science team meeting tomorrow, Brenda said, staring off at a tree in the distance. It's going to be so much fun. Mr. Hooton says that after the out-of-town competition, we get to go get pizza before we come home. Jerry shook his head. I wish I could be on the team. You guys are going to have such a great time. Brenda didn't say anything, but continued to stare off, as if she was imagining the cool time she'd have with her friends. Jerry folded his arms. That's so dumb, Bren. I shouldn't have to give up the science team to be cool. Maybe I can pull it off. Maybe the cool kids wouldn't even find out I'm on it. Are you really thinking about joining the team? Brenda asked, turning to him. Yeah, Jerry said. In fact, I've decided. I don't want to miss out. Brenda grinned. Great, it'll be so much more fun with you there, Flack. Jerry smiled. He was relieved that he and Brenda were still friends. But he had a new awful feeling nagging at him. Things with Cinnamon and the cool kids were still so shaky. What would happen if they found out that he was on the science team? And what would he do then? She's never going to get it, Melissa cried. She sat on the front stoop, her elbows resting on her knees. Yes, she is. Yes, she will, Jerry said. Okay, Sassy, bring the paper. He guided Sassy on the leash over to the shrub. Melissa had hidden the paper just under the bottom branches, so it would be easy for Sassy to find it and pick it up. Bring the paper, girl. Sassy wagged her tail and looked up at Jerry with her tongue hanging out of her mouth. Jerry sighed and leaned down and guided Sassy's head to the paper. Bring the paper, Sassy. He put the paper in Sassy's mouth. Good girl. Bring the paper. He led her to the porch where Melissa pulled the paper out of her mouth. Good girl, Melissa said, patting her head and giving her a doggy treat. You're a good dog, even though you're awful dumb. She isn't dumb, Jerry said. She'll get it. If she doesn't die of old age first, he thought. Hello, Cinnamon. Jerry sat cross-legged on the floor in his parents' room and spoke into the phone. It would have been really great to have his own self today. He was going to have to get one. He needed his privacy, especially for calls like this one. Adrenaline streamed through his body, making his heart thunder in his chest. Yes, this is Jerry. Hi, Jerry. I finished my song, and I thought you might like to hear it. Cinnamon squealed. You're going to sing it for me over the phone? No. I broke a guitar string, and I have to get it fixed. But I'll read you the lyrics. Just a minute. There was a muffled sound, as if Cinnamon covered the mouthpiece with her hand. Shut up, Jenny. I can't hear anything, she screamed. Oh, Jerry. Her voice was back again and soft. Sorry, I couldn't hear you. My bratty little sister was making too much noise. Oh, that's okay, Jerry said. You want me to read you the words to my song? Sure. It's called Cinnamon. Oh, Jerry, I've never had someone write a song about me before. Jerry cleared his throat, held up the piece of lined notebook paper, and read, Cinnamon O'Brien. I know her name. Once you've actually seen her face, you'll never be the same. She's beautiful and popular, the one who steals your heart. She's used to getting Valentines, bring hundreds in a cart. Cinnamon O'Brien, sweetest of the group. She'd do anything for a friend, even make chicken soup. Total, really awesome. You can't sit on the fence. One look from her, you're stuck for sure. You love her fashion sense. Cinnamon O'Brien, prettiest by far. Compare her to a flower, compare her to a star. If only I could hold her, touch her face and hair. Tell her she's the one for me, and say how much I care. His hand shaking, Jerry put the paper on the floor. He was glad he'd decided to read the poem to Cinnamon over the phone. His face was so hot his mother could have fried hash browns on it. He had never talked mushy to anyone before, and he felt immensely self-conscious. There was a long pause. Heavy silence hung in the air. Jerry was suddenly worried. Did she hate it? Why didn't she say anything? I had a little trouble with the rhyme in the first verse, he said, so I used actually. He heard a sniff. The song was beautiful, she said. She sniffed again. Really beautiful. Jerry sighed, very relieved. I'm glad you liked it. I've never really said stuff like this. Jerry? Yes? Were you serious? I mean, what you said in the song? Jerry cleared his throat. Very serious. Really? You love my fashion sense? Oh, yes. Yes, I do. 'Cause I really try hard to be in fashion, she said. The rest of the song was awesome too. I can't wait to hear you sing it with the guitar. Could you bring me a copy of it on Monday? Sure. There was a muffled sound again on her end while she covered the mouthpiece. Jenny, you're such a pain in the butt. She came back on the line, her voice soft again. Oh, sorry. It was my sister again. That's okay. Well, I'll see you Monday, Jerry. Thanks for the song. I was totally awesome. I'm glad you liked it. Jerry hung up. He had been nervous, but it had gone very well. Cinnamon was happy with her song. She hadn't said anything about the mushy parts. Maybe she was as embarrassed as he was. But she'd said the song was awesome, and the song made her so happy that she cried. Only once before had he done anything that made a person cry with happiness. That was when he was 10 and gave his mother a poem that he'd written about her in school for Mother's Day. In the poem, he'd written that she was the best mother in the solar system. She had hugged him tightly and cried, and he felt her tear on his cheek. He'd never seen his mother cry before, and it gave him a weird feeling. This time, though, it wasn't weird, it was wonderful. He decided that maybe he was beginning to understand women.